Hey guys, this is Portal Cuber with MegaSphere Media once again. Because I'm gonna be doing this by myself for a little while. So, anyways, today I have a game to show you that I actually started making yesterday. You could probably actually tell already by just what it says right there. I remade the world's hardest game. So, if you don't know what that is, then well, I don't know, just Google it because it was really popular when I was younger. So, anyways, it's very basic. You just have a player and just a red square, and your objective is to just, get from this green square to the next without getting hit by these blue circles. Pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just gonna short off of what I have so far, the first 8 levels, and then I'll kind of go more in depth about how I made this. So wait for it to load here. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it's fairly quick, so I might have to speed this part up. Alright, so that was fairly quick, and I actually don't know if this music is copyrighted or not, so I don't know. But anyways, so, really basic game mechanics, top down, and you just avoid these blue circles, and, if you get hit, then you die, and it adds 1 to your death count. So, the whole goal of the game is to finish the entire game. There's 30 levels without, with dying the least amount of times you can. So this one here introduces the new mechanic of, you can't move on to the next level without first getting all the coins. So you see here, there's, it's a safe zone, yeah, but I can't move on until I come and get this coin, which I will do now. And now that we have the coin, then we can move on to the next level if I can actually do it. Yeah. For the actual version of the game, the hitboxes are a little bit generous. This one I've actually made them very precise, so it's kind of annoyingly hard sometimes. Just gonna point that out there, but so yeah. This one, level 3, is usually pretty easy in the original, but for some reason my version is even harder than the original version, which is, I guess, kind of cool, but at the same time it kind of sucks. So I'm going to try a couple more times, but for sake of keeping the video hopefully under 10 minutes, I might just skip ahead using the system I have set up for debugging. So yeah, I'll try a couple more times here. I'll just go one more time. See if I can hopefully do it this time. Anyways. So, let's just pretend I did that one. I have done it before, in case you're wondering. It is possible. So yeah, that last level, this kind of shows, the first custom rig I had to build with these balls instead of just having them go back and forth. This one's second, and very interesting thing about this is it was actually the first level where there's checkpoints. Now right here I have this visible, this little red guy that stays visible. That is just a system for how it works. I'll show that later. That's usually not supposed to be visible, but I have that visible for sake of this video for explanation on how I made the checkpoints. So I mean, you might be able to tell a little bit just from seeing this, but I'll go over it more later, and hopefully I can do this without dying. That'd be fantastic. Almost there. There we go. Okay. This one is really a one to test your patience, because stuff like that happens. Yeah. So if I can just get to the checkpoint, that would be great, so I can at least get there. Yeah. So I don't mean to turn this into a gaming video. More of just, this is just to showcase basically just all the levels that I built so far. I tried to get them as closely to the original as I could, if I possibly could. So yeah, there's level 6. Now level 7 is basically like the second one, but you know, it's just these move a lot faster, which is kind of scary, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there, my version is actually a little bit harder than the original, because here you normally could just like follow it up and then duck in, but these are actually going slightly faster, so you can't do that from the bottom. You have to get a little bit more height before you actually start moving back up, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm just trying to commentate a little bit, so it's not just super boring. Watch me, you know, basically just play the world's hardest game, because that's what this is. It's just a remake. I'm just kind of showing off. I don't know if showing off is a good word to use. Showcasing is what I was thinking of. Showcasing all the levels I've built so far and just how closely they resemble the original, because I worked a total of probably 10 hours on it so far. So I've done all this in about a day. But I've completed only 8 out of 30 levels. So it's going to take me some time yet still. But yeah, I'll have to do more update videos when I get more levels done and stuff. So yeah, once I hit this, it's going to come up with an error message because there's no longer a next room. So that is the first 8 levels I have done so far. So now I'm going to go a little bit more into detail on just how I made this. Now when I first started making it, I thought, hey, this is a good idea. I mean, if I recall, back in 2012, the whole reason I got GameMaker Lite, the very first GameMaker I ever got, was so that I could make my own version of the world's hardest game. Granted, my very first version sucked, obviously, because I didn't hardly know how to use the system. So yeah, I think it was a fun idea to come back and kind of revisit the idea of remaking it, but this time there's a whole lot more that goes into it. So first of all, with the player, it's let's see. So I'm not gonna go over like basic, you know, movement, collision, you know, all that sort of stuff. I'm just gonna go over what I feel like were more of the I guess technical feats, if you will. Things that I kind of I couldn't find a tutorial for online anywhere, so I kind of just had to figure it out. So yeah, I'll go over that. So first thing is the checkpoint. Now I'll move level 5 up front first so I can kind of showcase that again. Basically the way I have this set up for checkpoints is that, so the green areas are safe zones. They have 3 different safe zones. The start area, which is, it doesn't do anything, it's just to mark the start position. And then I have, so start area, and then the end position, and then the checkpoint areas. So the checkpoint, what I did for that, you might have been able to figure that out, but basically what I did is I created, oh, well, I died. I created a second object to act as a checkpoint. So what happens is when the player collides with the checkpoint, it will create this sort of like second player sort of thing right there. You can see right there. And what happens is in the create event of the player, so basically every time it is created or it restarts, it'll check to see if this object right here is in the room, and if it is, then it will jump to that position. So that's how I made the checkpoint. So basically you collide with a checkpoint, it creates this player, and when you die, it'll check to see if it's there, and if it is, it'll jump to that position. So usually I have this invisible, but for sake of this video, I have it so you can see it. So yeah, that is the first technological feat that I would like to point out, because I was actually really surprised it worked first try when I did that. So now for the coins, to make it so that you can't move on without collecting the coins, it was also a pretty simple process. I think when I first tried fixing that, it actually also worked the first time, which I'm like really glad it does, because so much of these things, you have to go over it and redo it so many times to get it to work. So basically what I did here is when you make a coin or some entity that you picked up, the first thing that you might think to do is to have it so that when you collide with that object, it'll destroy itself. But the problem with that is that in order to keep the circles and the music playing, I had to make the room persistent. So that means that it won't like reset everything to the starting position, because it will jump and it looks kind of crappy. So what I did for that, just kind of a side feat, I guess, is I created it so that when you touch the coin, instead of destroying itself, it would turn into another object that you can't see. So in a sense, the coin is still there, it's just not the actual coin object. And also for that same reason, what happens is when you collide with the end sort of green zone, it'll check to see if how many instances there are of the coin. So basically it'll check to see if there's any coins in the room, and if there are, it just won't do anything. So if there are, if there's 0 coins, it'll check to see that, and if there are 0 when you collide with this, then it will let you go on. So what you need to do, obviously, I guess I've already kind of shown this, but just to reiterate. So you get the coin, it turns into a pseudo coin that you can't see, and I died. Anyways, you get the idea. So that's how that worked, and then that's basically, one more thing real quick. So the way to get the circles to move properly is I have a red border, that's the player border, so the player can't pass through that, and the blue is where the ball can't pass through. So I have four different circles, and one that starts off moving left, and one starts moving right, and then up and down. So the 4 directions, and then pretty much whenever they come in contact, if the left or right ones contact the ball, collision masks, basically, these boundaries, they will reverse their horizontal position or horizontal direction, and for the up and down ones, they'll reverse their vertical position, or vertical movement. There we go. So that's how I got that to work. And if you were wondering what these are down here, these are actually so I can control the speed of the ball. So as you see, it says down there, right there, the object ball speed multiplier. So the way I have that set up is if I come into one of these here, you'll see on the create event there's this huge list of things. Basically, it'll see how many of the ball multipliers there are in the room, and say if there aren't any, then the speed will be 1, which is the slowest, and then all the way up to, if there are 5 of them present in the room, then the speed will be 6. So basically it's just an easy way for me to control the speed of the balls, control the speed of them, in accordance to the different rooms, rather than making separate objects just for those different speeds. So that definitely cut down on the number of objects I had to make, which I was really glad. And I also have these little things that they collide with, these arrows that'll change direction. That's to make it go in sort of a either clockwise or counterclockwise rotation sequence, like I've done in the 3rd level here. So you see I just have 1 ball multiplier, so the speed it's going is 2, which is actually the same speed as the player. So it kind of helps with this level here. So you see I have these arrows, so when the ball hits it, it'll change, and go in that direction, basically. Um, so yeah, that's how I have that set up. And then I've also had to come in and create um, these different specific objects for these levels. They're numbered according to the level that they're in. Um, so I basically, just drew these things and made them rotate just like that. And then, so those had to be specific to each level, such as level 4 has that one there. And then level 5 has this giant one that is all one object, which, again, would save me making a lot more objects, say if I had to make these individual objects that followed a circular path. Then that's making a lot of paths, a lot of objects, and this is a lot of work I don't want to do. So I figured it would be easier just to make special formations, is what I'm calling them. So I also, for level 8, I have those, these ones here. These 3 are one object, and those 3 are also one object. And I just have them on different paths so that they'll go around like that. And then this one is just a normal one, hitting these arrows, same old stuff. So yeah, this video is getting to be pretty long. So if you guys watched to the end, congrats. You might as well subscribe at this point. I mean, So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll be posting more updates of the game here when I make more levels, or perhaps when I finish it. It should only take me, well, depending. My schedule's gonna get pretty busy. Actually, starting today for the next week or so. Also with my main channel, as well as just stuff I do for my life and other things like that. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.